Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Backstage Pass.
Yay!
Yay! Today's episode we're actually doing a double episode, as in two of us. So, once again, I am Gerardo Boz, one of the co founders of CWF, and partnered up with me tonight is the one and only.
Wes Bartel, I'm the commissioner of the CWF. Hey, what's good?
Hey, um, there's a lot to talk about that's been happening this weekend in terms of wrestling. It was a big weekend for WWE with both NXT Wargames and WWE Survivor Series. Normally, Wes and I like to fluff up some small talk, but with all the wrestling that's happened, we just want to get to the meat of the things. Um,
Well,
and
we did need to get to the question from last
yes,
week.
yes, yes, yes. The question from last week, which is, what makes a good babyface?
Would you like
And
to go first,
I
or
think
still I?
I think I'd like to go first for this one.
Great.
In my opinion, what makes a good babyface is a good babyface should always be in a position where they stand up against evil, right?
Mm.
Like, in terms of whether the babyface themselves is pure good or not, that's not really a big deal for me. But it's more like whenever the big bad person starts like beating up other wrestlers or is running amok in the company, the babyface is the one that comes in and says, "Hey, stop that."
Yeah,
Oh,
no matter how good or bad they are.
yeah, no matter how good. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin's not exactly a good person, but he was the hero because Vince McMahon and the corporation they were just big assholes.
Mm.
And while he doesn't exemplify traits of a traditional hero, heavy drinking, lots of swearing, very anti-authority. He
Hell
does,
yeah.
yeah, hell yeah, give me a hell yeah. He does have that rebellious spirit that is very heroic.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So a real baby face to you has to be a champion of good against evil.
Right? They don't have to be good themselves.
Right. Right,
Right.
right. That makes sense. Who's some other great baby faces that are out there?
Daniel Bryan. Uh,
Daniel Bryan.
before Survivor Series. uh, yeah, Daniel Bryan with the whole Yes movement and how the establishment was keeping him down.
Hmm.
He's a good one. I think Aleister Black is a great babyface in terms of he's been seen as the silent enforcer of NXT, where when people get out of line, he's kind of there to kick them back into place.
Okay. So it's a little bit Fonzie.
Yeah, he's a little bit Fonzie. He wow, Fonzie references. I love how Fonzie references are older than most of us, and we still know them.
Well, yeah, we all watched TV growing up,
Yeah,
most of
well,
us. Um,
let's.
okay.
Oh,
Well,
Bailey. Oh, I wanted to say Bailey. Bailey's a fantastic babyface before
oh
the
man, I
Bailey's
love Bailey. Bailey's one of my favorite female, just favorite superstars
favorite
in
superstars.
general.
I, all right,
Uh,
Wes.
so for me, I I feel like my answer is very similar, where it is a character that has to be good, but the difference between a face and a baby face is for
You
me,
wait, a face and
they
a baby face? Oh,
yeah is the thing that puts them over in that aspect is they have to be uncompromising. There's when you see that baby face, like if they heel turn, people get upset. It's that kind of character for me. Um,
okay.
because like for instance, if Aleister Black started doing the exact opposite of what he's doing now and instead helps the shitbaggery of NXT, or within NXT, um, then of course that's going to be different in a way that not too fond of. I love Aleister Black, you know that. Ever since his high stakes battle with Velveteen Dream to say his name, I've just loved Aleister Black. Um,
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean,
and but Aleister Black is always going to be that enforcer. He's always going to fight hard and do what he's got to do to maintain that character, and that's the difference. That's what makes a good baby face.
Okay, I'm trying to piece together your because
Uncompromising.
uncompromised.
That is
So they
yeah
stick to their beliefs.
yeah, and they it's so ingrained in their character that if they don't do that, something's wrong.
You mean like how when The Rock went from People's Champion to Corporate Champion?
Yes, exactly that.
Okay, so this is more so that how do you feel about baby faces that still fight for their beliefs, but they're fighting for the wrong people?
Hmm.
Like
Well, that's a writing thing.
that's a writing thing because
You
the,
you can do that, but and be good, or you can do that and be terrible. Because like if you write it well, it's going to come out great. It's kind of like when Captain America, everyone was like, "No, he's the agent of Hydra, sleeper cell." That came out over a year ago. I don't mind saying it,
yeah,
but
that made me upset.
yeah, well, that's the thing. Captain America is Captain America. If he just suddenly became Hydra, you would be upset, and that's exactly
Oh,
what happened.
now I get it. What you say about uncompromising beliefs. In your opinion, what makes a good baby face is not that they just fight for good or evil, but they have a code of ethics that if they
And they
don't,
are uncompromising about those ethics.
yes. So when Austin joined the corporation, that hurt
Yes.
not just because it was Austin being a bad guy, but it's Austin who stands for like F the system. Now he is the system.
Yeah, it feels like a betrayal.
Okay, oh, that makes a lot more sense because
Yeah.
there's certain people like Macho Man Randy Savage. He's face or heel, but if you were to tell me what are the ethics of Macho Man Randy Savage, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I differentiated face from baby face.
Oh,
So,
that
yeah.
that yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay,
Hmm.
okay, yeah.
You weren't expecting that answer, were you?
No, I wasn't because I never used face by itself. I used baby face and I used tweener and heel. Uh,
Hmm.
so
I feel the spectrum's a bit deeper than that. That's where the problems
of
came
course,
in.
leave it to the guy heavy into Dungeons and Dragons to really go in deep on
Hey
the
man,
alignments.
I just went to an epic on Sunday. It was fantastic. An epic is when something like over 10 different groups come together to play the same campaign. So we were raiding this dragon cult's stronghold, and there was something like over 60 players playing all in the same game. It was great. If you ever get a chance, check it out.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, that sounds real Dungeons and Dragon-ish. That I
Shut, shut up.
no. I mean that in the best way possible. I bet you were in a board game store when you did it.
Yeah, well, of course.
Oh yeah, it's either that or someone's basement. That's like the quintessential D&D experience is the basement.
Let's Hey man, if you're going to be stuck in somebody's basement, at least be an elf. Uh,
Okay. Um.
so I didn't see War Games, but I did see Survivor Series, and wow, I have a lot of things to say about that.
Okay. First off, for those listening to Backstage Pass, I want to give a nice shout out to the green room, which is a little sparse at the moment. But I know a lot of people not only saw Survivor Series, but a lot more people have opinions on Survivor Series. So if you want to vent them, voice them out, type in there, and we'll be sure to read it out in the stream. Just throwing it out there. All right. So um, let's go ahead while the topic is still fresh in your head. Let's talk about Survivor Series.
Oh man,
Uh,
Survivor Series. That
uh,
was that was a trip, man.
that was,
I,
yeah, that's, it's always, it's always a, you expect something from Survivor Series because it's one of the big pay-per-views. Like this is where the actual plot elements either get resolved or change.
yeah, This is the end of chapters.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. But man, uh, well, let's start off from the beginning.
All right. Oh, we're gonna go down the card for this one.
Oh yeah, because we got to save the best for last.
All
Uh,
right. First off, we're gonna skip the pre-show match, not because it was bad, but because Survivor Series themselves totally ignored that it happened.
the elimination match, the tag team
The
match.
tag team match, which
Oh
by all
man,
means it was freaking fantastic.
I just want to say something real quick about that. There is a lot of real talent that was in the kickoff show. The Usos, New Day, Bobby Roode, the Ascension. A lot of them were in there, and it had all the elements to make a great match. I don't know why they didn't care enough about all these talents to put them in. Also, that is the only match that SmackDown beat Raw, and it doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Corey Graves, bless his heart, he's like, "Hey, we still got this," and I feel like he's kind of, uh, it's like when you're in those arguments where you see two people like going at it, and you come in, actually, it was this, and they both tell you to shut up, even though you were factually right. That's
Yeah,
that's how I feel Corey Graves was. Fun fact about that. Now, this is all according to the dirt sheets, Dave Meltzer, uh, but apparently Raw was supposed to win that match too, but they didn't tell the booker. The promoter. So SmackDown won, which could explain why they ignored the results because they weren't supposed to win that.
mm,
Which
okay, that sucks.
that sucks.
Oh man.
Then I think one of the highlights for me from the tag match was showing how freakishly strong Chad Gable is.
Oh yeah, Chad Gable's a monster.
Yeah, he freaking deadlift German suplex Big E. Like, Big E.
I'm gonna look. See, Big E weights. How heavy is Big E? He's 5'11" and 285 pounds. That's amazing that he could lift that man and hurl him like a doll, like he did.
Yeah, and this was a dead weight German suplex. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's not the first time Chad Gable's done something like this. He deadlift German suplex Baron Corbin on NXT during the Dusty Road Classics. So the guy's got a surprising amount of core strength. Normally, when we talk about freakishly strong people, we always talk about your Mark Henrys, your Roman,
Braun.
your Bronze. Uh, then you kind of got those deceptively strong people like Cesaro, who
Yeah.
who when Big E tried to cross body him, Cesaro caught Big E and didn't move. But Gable needs to be part of this equation.
Oh well, it's nuts because he's like 200 pounds, 5'8". He's not. He's just not a huge guy. And like even in a singlet, like he's wide, but he's not like you would never imagine that he's super strong, and
Yeah,
he
I,
is.
I mean, obviously he's incredibly physically fit, but
Sure.
it comes with a level of strength. You're definitely right. It comes with a level of strength that you don't normally associate with the physique.
Yes. He's not all show. He's definitely able to do it. He probably deadlifts more than Biggie all the time.
All right. We're gonna go down the card.
Okay.
So the first
So
match, Team Raw with Mickey James, Nia Jax, Tamina, Bailey, and Sasha Banks with Alexa Bliss versus Naomi, Carmella, Sonya Deville, Asuka, and Mandy Rose.
it, man, so I
It's
I have mentioned
it's never
before,
good. It's never good when someone starts off with a nobody goes,
man.
man, that was great. Nobody does that.
Now, now if I'm not smoking weed, I don't. But I've mentioned before, I I really like women's or just the female superstars that are in WWE. Like they're fantastic. I love Sasha Banks, Bailey, Asuka, even Nia Jax, even though she's taken a lot of heat recently. And I just I just wasn't impressed by this match. Like it felt like really under like a lot of the cells weren't there. A lot of the for instance, when they had the big brawl at the beginning, Nia Jax was just kind of like folded over a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just kind of getting hit." It really those kinds of things really take me out of it.
Wow, I wasn't watching it with that critical of an eye. For me, what's
I,
really,
I work in film. I always look at things with a critical eye.
I'm just critical.
Yeah.
For me, it's Survivor Series is always the big Survivor Series matches. So the
Mm.
men's, the women's, the tags. It's always a weird disconnect for me because there's usually not a lot of immediate stakes. There's a lot of drama getting on the team, like, oh my god, this guy didn't get picked over this guy. That makes sense. But when a team wins, it kind of doesn't really go where outside of a few lip services. So really, everybody's just fighting for bragging rights,
Mm.
and in main roster when winning wins and losses don't matter, where you could keep losing and then get a title shot. Uh,
I feel like this one could have mattered for Nia though,
I mean,
be,
they could.
because of
It,
Facebreaker Nia.
face breaker, Nia. That's.
Listen, man, I honestly feel it was a mistake. From what I've read, Nia, excuse me, is a real sweetheart off camera. She or it like dropping kayfabe. She's just the nicest person. Um, I don't think she intentionally broke Becky Lynch's face, and with the writing the way it's been, this was their solution. Like, you know what? Let's not be like, oh, it was a mistake. No, let's double down.
No, it's totally smart. You gotta this, we do it. We're guilty of it all the time in CWF. You gotta use what
Mm,
we got. Where so when a certain character can't make it, we say they're injured or.
exactly.
I think a lot of the issues with Nia, the heat that she's getting is not. I mean, there's definitely the conspiracy theorists like, oh my God, she hit Becky Lynch on purpose. But it's Nia has a history of hurting her partners.
But she's like twice a lot of these women's size, dude. Like, there is no such thing as speed class. There is something called weight class. And she's got some weights.
She got some weight, but if you're gonna go by that logic, then Strowman, Big Show, AOP, and all the other huge guys would be destroying the others. But
But they've had a lot more time to develop in that scene. Um, how long has Nia Jax been in the game?
well, Nia Jax definitely she's been in. Okay, I know that Nia. I'm all right. I'm gonna use Strowman as an example. I'm only gonna use Strowman as an example as he's the one I could think of right now. But
Mm,
Strowman and Nia are both homegrown talent, so
mm,
they're not indie wrestlers that they plucked and put them in NXT. They were people who came in, at the ground level into the performance center and trained with just WWE. Nia has been wrestling longer than Braun Strowman.
mm. Okay. I I guess it's just hard to gauge that. For instance, she's 6 foot and 272 pounds according to Google. Charlotte is bigger than a lot of the other women that are in the ring. I dare say. And she's 5'10", 141 pounds. Naya is almost twice their weights. I feel like if she doesn't pull punches, and other people get overly complicated, like, hey, you should do that, that someone could get hurt. And someone did get hurt, and it was an accident. Move along, nothing to see.
Okay. Uh, I do think that it was the timing. The timing was really bad, but I mean,
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
putting the heat on Nia is absolute smart because people already don't like her. Might as well just rub it in that way. When Lynch hopefully gets her comeback, it's gonna feel sweet.
Mm. Oh yeah, and they're definitely going to work with that, but this was not her time.
Now let's talk about this match, which wasn't your match. Uh,
Um,
uh,
oof.
so this, okay, you weren't feeling it because of the selling, but was there anything else that?
So like this match for me, the mid card champions, Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke
We're
Nakamura.
moving, we're moving on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, we're still talking about this
Yeah, I
match.
wanted to still talk
Sorry,
about the women's match.
my bad. Oh man, I talked about Nia Jax a lot. I think she's gorgeous. Uh, I I just wasn't feeling it. It was low energy. Like Mickey James, I was just unimpressed with, even though she's a talented character. I was disappointed that Bailey was eliminated by a countout.
After
Um,
Bailey, Bailey was doing pretty well. It's like,
she
yay!
was.
Being a Bailey fan is suffering because
Yeah,
you want to love her, and then she just keeps losing.
you just love hugging pain.
It's
Um,
like being a Dean Ambrose fan when he was really hot.
oh, oh yeah, fuck.
It's not. It's
It was. It's just there's a lot of things working against everyone in this. I
I
feel.
I also feel like one of the things that could also lead to why things weren't as tight from a storytelling. It's gonna. This is a very poor excuse because
Hmm,
in a few matches we're going to completely invalidate it, but it could be
sure.
that a lot of these women weren't wrestling with each other before.
Hmm.
That you got to have that in-ring chemistry because remember when it was Banks and Asuka? Oh man, that was great.
Yeah, actually, I remember I was messaging you because I had to catch up later. Um, oh, I loved it when it was Binks and Atsuka because they've worked together a long time, and
Yeah,
they're my two favorite ladies. I gotta say,
they
uh,
probably don't have a lot of TV matches against each other, but they've been through NXT together, and they're
yeah,
both. Let's see, I want to say they were on Raw together, but I'm not sure. Maybe SmackDown. But the point is, they got that they got a connection already, and it shows.
yeah, definitely.
It shows.
Um, uh, though I feel like Asuka, who is the queen of striking, felt really underpowered in this match. Like her striking ability wasn't as put on display as
It
usual.
isn't. She doesn't get those like if you watch in a lot of NXT matches and her earlier main roster matches, they just let Asuka cold clog people with her feet
Mm,
like she's swinging baseball bats and some of the wrestlers aren't really trained to know how to take a stiff shot like that. Like Alexa Bliss, there's actually a
it's
lot of footage where Asuka will miss her by like a good foot and she'll go down.
mm,
But someone like Bailey, she could quote unquote cold clock Bailey, and it's great. It looks beautiful.
yeah, because Bailey's been doing it forever.
Yeah, it was doing it forever. Nia
Uh,
Jax took one of those kicks too. It was beautiful. It was great. Um,
yeah, but there was a point where like so that's probably because there's been a lot of injuries in the women's roster recently.
there's just been a lot of injuries. Period.
Mm,
It's
I, I
it's not a gender thing, but it could be that
I guess
maybe
there's just fewer women in the WWE, so it seems a little bit more. But yes, you are absolutely right. There's just a lot of pain going around recently.
well, it is wrestling.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Well,
so
all right. Let's move on. The
okay.
third match on the card: Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Oh, let me just say that the Raw women's team won there. So for
Yeah.
those keeping score, write that down. All right, now Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Um, man. So like Seth Rollins built on me because I actually when I didn't like Shield when it came out. I just thought they were very boring. And then Seth Rollins had his corporate phase, which I was not a fan of. But Seth Rollins grew on me because he's actually a great performer.
He's a great performer, and he's one of the very few. He's one of the very few reformed heels that understands that he was a heel. Like
Yeah.
you ever that seems like a thing when a wrestler becomes a good guy, they kind of get like a memory wipe, and they're like, I didn't do any bad things, but Seth
Oh,
Rollins,
Griffin did nothing
yeah,
wrong. That kind of mentality.
or no, more like that they don't remember what they used to be.
Oh, yeah, he's still got that. I mean, what's his catchphrase? Burn it
Burn
down.
it down.
Yeah, like that's not a face thing. It's not a good guy thing, but he's still being a good guy. He's
He
still who he was. He's just on this side of the fence now.
Not to mention that a lot of his storyline is about him reforming himself, where the Seth Rollins, the Seth,
Mm,
his storyline is his personal growth, where he's going, yeah, I was a shitbag. I am trying to be less of a shitbag, which lends itself to a lot of really good continuity, and I think that's one of the reasons why Seth and Dean are some of the more interesting characters, is because they don't retcon their own personal history,
yeah, definitely.
right?
Uh,
Where
but
Seth
this
goes,
match.
yeah, this
Oh, sorry.
match, no, no, no.
Where Seth goes what?
Seth's one of the very few people who, when Dean's like, "Ah, crap, I probably am responsible for this because I did this and I was horrible. Damn it, damn me."
Mm. Um, but this match, uh, it was a slow burn. It was a Yakuza game in disguise because it took a while for me to get hyped for this
It
match.
was. I don't know what the hell is up with WWE and its fascination with rest holds in the beginning.
With rest
Rest
holds?
holds. So like long headlocks, long chin locks, long arm
Oh,
bars.
yeah.
Parts in the match where
Oh,
it just stops.
actually, exactly that. At the begin, towards the beginning of the match, I remember I was bitching to you about this. Um, Shinsuke had him in a wrist lock, and he held it very long, like a very long time. It wasn't anything like too crazy. It was just like, oh, it's a wrist lock. Ah, it hurts, and it went like 10 seconds too long. Um, but that was a really poor sell for me too, because um, he's like, the pain is too much, and then he just starts flipping around to get out of the hold. Um, and he does it pretty effortlessly. So it's like, well, why didn't you just do that for the beginning? Oh, because you're selling. Um, and that kind of stuff sticks with me. Um, but
It's a really popular wrestling trope, but I may I think what you're right. Usually when you get in a wrist lock like that, it's only for a few seconds, not 10. I'll have to watch it again, but
yeah, you'll go back and be like, oh, this is a little long.
but
Um,
that's
but as they went on, oh, sorry,
oh yeah, I just wanted to clarify why it's called a rest hold. For longer
because
matches, you
you rest the
yeah,
hold.
yeah, you disguise like a headlock as both of you catching your breath.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's got him in a really nasty submission hold. It's like, no, he doesn't.
He doesn't, but when matches go like 20, 30 minutes, you're gonna need that.
Mm. But as we went on with this match, I really got into it. And at the end, uh, Rollins broke kayfabe a little bit because Shinsuke walked up and he stopped and kind of glared back at Seth in the ring. And Rollins was making eye contact and kind of nodding a little. And then he gave him a thumbs up, and I was like, ah. So they appreciated the match, but they kind of broke that kayfabe of rivalry, even though the rivalry really wasn't there.
The rivalry wasn't there. It was a. I don't know if maybe Seth did said something and I missed it, but I know Shinsuke said something, and it was amazing what Shinsuke said to Seth.
Hmm.
He said, "Seth Rollins, you've been having a very bad. It's been a very bad time for you. Your Roman's gone. Your best friend has betrayed you, but don't worry. He says pretty much, I'm gonna knee you in the head so hard that you're gonna forget all of it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's so
That's a
good.
great promo.
That
That's
is
a great
so
promo.
good. It's so.
Shit. I dropped my microphone. Oops.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, that's super good. That's being a good fellow, uh I guess you could say teammate, or just professional courtesy. Showing that, like, hey man, I do see that this is going on, and it's his way of saying that, and he kept it in kayfabe,
He
which is
kept,
great.
but it's also a very mean thing to say. Shinsuke's the heel in this match.
Yeah, it was great for his
Oh,
character.
it's so good, and it plays to his strengths. Like, he's the king of strong style, so I'm gonna hit you really hard is what he would do.
Yeah,
And I don't think Seth said anything to Shinsuke, which uh which kind of, the heat wasn't there. I
mm.
do think these guys work really well together. Their
Yeah,
styles,
I would really like to see more of them in the future.
but it's this whole thing with the rest holds. There's a lot. WWE main roster loves to do stop and go over sequences. Like, if you watch Japanese wrestling, like they like to use drop kicks and pins as periods to sentences. So in WWE it'd be like wrist lock, wrist lock, wrist lock, wrist lock. Other guy punches, ooh, breaks the wrist lock. In Japan it's like wrist lock, arm bar, go behind,
Oh yeah,
transition,
they like to
suplex.
sequence things. Yeah,
They like to sequence things, and which is great. And in NXT, you see a lot more sequences. Like, uh, when you're done with tonight's episode, go watch War Games, because Gargano versus Black is just, it's rarely stop and go. They're always exchanging.
really, that's good.
It
Uh,
looks more like a martial arts choreography fight at times.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cool.
I definitely need to go check that out on the WWE
On the
network.
WWE network. But
Eh, um,
I do think this was one of Shinsuke's better main roster matches. Um,
hmm.
Shinsuke gets accused of phoning in some matches, and even I, as one of the world's biggest Shinsuke Nakamura fans, agree.
Yeah, he's guilty of it.
He's guilty of it, but when he turns it up, like, he had a great match with Cena, he had a great match with Orton. His Royal Rumble performance had me at the edge of my seat. His Last Man Standing match with AJ Styles was mwah, c'est magnifique, and I think Nakamura came to play for this one.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I feel like he does get pretty competitive when he actually wants to perform. Um, and like, because he's a wrestler too. He wants to prove that he's great at what he does, and beating the other guy from the other side of the company, the Intercontinental Champion. That's a great way to do it,
It's a great way, and this ends up with Rollins winning, so it's 2 for Raw and 0 for SmackDown.
right?
Right.
I'd like to before we go to the next match.
I don't want to
Um,
go into the next match.
oh, we're
Oh,
gonna.
Christ.
Um, but they had one of those backstage intermissions. I just I I really feel like they were really lacking in the backstage stuff, because everything was like hyping up the next match, and there was little to no character to it. This was the Braun Strowman was arguing with Dolph and
Oh, that one, that
Drew
one.
McIntyre. Yeah, and then Baron Corbin comes in. Um, he it's just, it had nothing to it. It really lacked substance to me, and everything but the backstage stuff really lacked substance to me. I was just really bored with it.
You know what? That gets me thinking. First off, hello, Mr. Satan's Champ. He says SmackDown for life, and I agree. I love SmackDown,
Well,
though their
you
Raw
you
has been legitimately good past few weeks. So I'm not going to completely turn my a blind eye to good wrestling.
um, I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. I just feel that you like one or the other usually because it's either one of two things. You you like fun over the edge because Raw is super edgy. It's usually pretty edgy. It's where all the dudes wearing black and leather go, um, like Kevin Owens, Brock, um, who are some other Raw guys, Braun Strowman,
Seth, Dean.
Seth. Exactly, and they're all Raw. And then you have a lot of characters that are on SmackDown. And if you're really into wrestling character, SmackDown's the way to go for you.
It also is Raw has a lot more spectacle in it than SmackDown.
Mm.
Like you know, the Braun Strowman going crazy, or Kevin Owens power bombing that one guy from it. A lot of the crazy moments is in Raw, and then SmackDown is a little bit more subdued, and it's more like the matches and what it is. SmackDown
Yeah.
just gets extra points for me for not having a heel authority figure. It's just really refreshing to see Shane go, all right, yeah, go do that, and just stay out of most stuff.
Yeah,
And
the heel authority became kind of a trope, and I'm with you. I don't think it needs to be all the time. Every guy's got to be kind of either a snake of the grass or just a straight up asshole like Triple H.
which is why William Regal is one of the best authority figures in NXT, is because he makes the most logical decisions, and it's really impressive how there's this sense of consequence where a wrestler would go up to, how in Raw, some guy would go, I want a title shot, and the guy's like, no, you don't get a title shot, and it's like, fuck you, and that's it, like for no
Yeah,
reason, or someone gets a title shot, like just cause. In
that,
NXT, a guy will go, Mr. Regal, I've been winning a lot of matches, and I want this. Well, wrestler, you have been winning a lot of matches, and you got that in 2 weeks. Or some guy will go like, Regal, I want a title shot. You don't deserve a title shot. But I tell you what, you get in this tournament and you win, maybe you'll get a title shot. It's just,
yeah, it actually allows the manager to be a character instead of just an obstacle.
yeah, and he just makes a lot of good points, and it gives a lot of the how in wrestling there's a lot of nothing matches, like this guy is wrestling this guy for no reason.
That's a great segue to our next match.
Yeah, we will, but NXT gives weight to the nothing matches because the announcer's like, oh, look at him, he's building momentum, or he's really trying to impress William Regal with doing this. I'm like, oh, I
Mm.
just love it. Don't you just love things when they have consequence, and they fit some sort of purpose? It doesn't have to be the biggest purpose,
Oh
but
yeah,
yeah. All right, so
consequence makes things interesting. For instance, gambling anime where there's no consequence to losing, because if they lose, the anime is over. That like, what's the
so
point?
somebody's talking about Kakagurui.
I sure am. But let's get to the tag team champions, AOP versus the Bar.
First off, this is going to be one of two heel versus heel matches on Survivor Series. Uh, I mean, the Bar pretty much stole the tag team champions with the Big Show, and AOP beat up Seth Rollins. So you know, it's,
Yeah,
it's hard to root from either team from a storytelling perspective. But oh god, this match. I'm gonna level with you. When Survivor Series was on, I was using the time to play Tsum Tsum on my phone and just listening to it.
mm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Um, and this is the match where Enzo Amore had his big "How you doing" moment.
Are you sure it was this? I thought it was the Nakamura match.
I am looking at uh, a recap just so I can have all the matches in front of me. And it says here Enzo Amore shows up during the match. Um,
Okay. I think it was people were spotting Enzo in the crowd during the Nakamura match, and then during the AOP match was when he was doing
his
his
promo
shtick.
cut.
His shtick.
Man, I don't understand that guy. Like when he was with Baron Corbin, it made sense.
Big
You know, he was
Cass.
fine. Or Big Cass, excuse me. Um, wow, excuse me. But uh, like I feel like he doesn't realize that his image is tied to the WWE, and if he gets like permanently removed, which I feel isn't too far off in the future, he's screwed and he's destroyed his career.
Oh no, it's already happened. Someone posted screenshots of the doors at Raw in the Staples Center, and it shows Enzo's picture and his name, and it says "banned from Staples Center."
Man.
But what really gets my goat about Enzo in this context
Mm,
is first off, the guy is completely welcome to watch wrestling.
yeah.
That is not the issue. The issue for me is he showed up wearing his own old merch and started, doing his shticks. It kind of reminds me. Okay, how do it kind of reminds me of when you're at the con and there's that cosplayer that spends the entire convention in one spot drawing attention to themselves.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. That was me in 2009 when they
Right.
did Zangief with Jordan. We would sit there. I sat there and flexed for 2 hours. The next day, I could hardly get out of bed.
Right, but
Ugh.
it reminds you of that person that's trying to put themselves over the actual event that people are there to see.
Oh, I could think of a very specific cosplayer, but I don't think I should say her.
Yeah, let's not. But
Ugh.
it's that sentiment. Anyway, Black
Uh,
Freight in the green room writes, "Bada boom, Enzo lost all his cool." That is so true.
he's
Oh god,
so-
I was so in love with Enzo and Cass, and then
yeah, they are just Enzo just fucked everything up. Like, how does he expect to be like his rap career to actually like go on if because the only people that support him are the WWE fans
and people who don't like music.
and people who don't like real music. Do you listen to Enzo's music?
I heard Phoenix. I don't want to get into it right now,
All right, all
but
right.
it's just this kind of voice doesn't. I can't hear that over a rap beat for more than 2 minutes. Let Okay, the match. The sad part
Oh
about
no,
them.
I feel like that's all we need to say about the
Oh no
match.
no no no.
Disappointing.
No.
Oh,
You forgot that Drake Maverick pissed himself.
oh yeah! Wow, what a cheap attempt at comedy that didn't fly well.
He he pissed himself. I think the only move I really remember was when Cesaro did his big giant swing on one of them, which was really cool. And then Sheamus hopped over the AOP guy to deck Cesaro. Not Sheamus. No. Cesaro did the giant swing, and then the partner jumped over the dude being swung to pop Cesaro. That was cool.
Mm,
That was
yeah,
cool. That was the only thing that was cool.
I I I like Sheamus. I like Cesaro. I like the bar. I think the bar needs to disband. They are very and like many people be like, "What are you talking about? They're a great tag team. They are a great tag team." I just feel like they're starting to get stale and a little jobbery. Um, yeah.
They've done all they can as a tag team, but the problem is if they split up and are single wrestlers, then they double have nowhere to go.
Well. Um, I feel like um, you you use so for I had this idea.
First off,
Um,
Cesaro, I love Cesaro.
I love Cesaro too. I just think he needs someone to write some good stuff for him. Um, I feel like maybe what's his name, Drew McIntyre, and and wow, why am I blanking on his name? Sheamus. The two of them should have some sort of beef that requires him to get out of the tag team.
Okay, of course. Just get all the people with funny accents in a feud.
Oh, oh no, the Scottish versus the Irish. It is a thing.
All right.
um, but yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this. Then
Okay.
they did more backstage stuff, and the Miz was being obnoxious.
All right.
But
And AOP won, so Raw is at 3-0. Now let's talk about something good. This is
man, so I really like Buddy Murphy.
all right.
Uh,
This is Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali for the cruiserweight title. Man, was this a bright spot on the card?
oh, it really was. Both of them really, really turned out for it. There was a bit more rolling around on the ground than I would have preferred, but like they really this for me was probably the best match on the card. It
It was what you were looking for. Remember how you said the strikes weren't there and stuff, like, but then
yeah,
when Buddy Murphy would kick Mustafa Ali, it made you, god damn, you get that
yeah,
that nice
yeah.
shotgun shot.
Because Buddy Murphy is something that uh that has been missing. Buddy Murphy's a straight heel. He even says during his pre-recorded promo before the match, uh, the bad guys always win, and I love that.
And
I
I'm the
love,
baddest guy.
yeah, 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 and like that's great. I love that because you need those characters. It's a weak point in WWE. Um, and then Mustafa Ali, I know is one of your favorite
He is my favorite pure babyface on the roster.
right now.
Right now, pure
Okay.
babyface. He's my favorite one. I think that Mustafa Ali is just a freaking exceptional human being. Like, there's stories where true story of a father was shopping at Toys R Us with his son, and his son was upset because there were no Mustafa Ali action figures because they didn't make any. So Mustafa Ali reached out to a friend and made a custom made action figure, and he gave it to the kid.
That's so cool.
Right, right.
Oh
And
man.
like his story,
That's
he used to
I
be a
and you've
cop.
met him too.
Yeah, I met him.
He's
I was at Access, and Jill and I were walking around, and it was like, oh look, there's DD. I mean, there's the DDP signing. There's Big Show, and then we saw the Mustafa Ali line, and we ran like, fuck all you guys, Mustafa Ali.
you push a child out of the way. Get out of the way. Move.
Well, no, actually, I wouldn't do that in front of Mustafa Ali.
No, no, no.
No, but his whole storyline is that he actually used to be a cop.
Mm.
He used to be a cop, and he became a pro wrestler, and he's all about fighting against prejudice and preconceived notions. That's why he really takes pride in being a Pakistani wrestler, because you don't see that. Other stuff that he did that was freaking awesome was he during Ramadan he still wrestled, and he still wrestled in that high impact Mustafa Ali style when he was fasting.
Oh, whoa. That's actually pretty big.
Right? And if you ever get the chance to listen to his promos on Twitter, like he
Yeah,
actually,
you were telling me about this earlier
yeah,
today.
he cut one on Buddy Murphy, and he says one of his lines is uh, one of his lines is you want to know about my best kept secret, because Buddy Murphy was the best kept secret in 205 Live, and he says you're looking at a man who's willing to break himself down to break down barriers. And he says,
Hmm.
you want to know about my best kept secret? Um, the the best wrestler doesn't fight for himself; he fights for others. And I'm like, oh my god, that's like some Captain America level
Oh
Shonen
man.
Jump heartstring pulling.
Oh yeah. if Mustafa Ali was a Boku no Hero Academia character, I'd believe it.
I oh,
Uh,
I'm going to when we're done. I'm going to link you to it so you can see it. And
oh,
he
definitely do.
he he wrote it. He shot it on his own, like with his. He produced it. It's mwah. Anyway. Match was awesome. Freaking Spanish fly onto the floor.
Oh, that was nuts, dude.
He had
Ah,
him and Buddy Murphy have wrestled a lot. They've had Black Freight says they have a few Black Match of the Year contenders. There was this one spot where it was a no DQ match. Mustafa Ali throws Buddy Murphy into the turnbuckle, so he's sitting on the turnbuckle, okay? And then he takes the ring steps, right? And
mm.
he shoves the ring steps in front of Buddy Murphy, and then he stands the ring steps so it's the long way up. You know how
Yeah.
yeah,
I got you.
he gets on top of the ring steps and then superplexes Buddy Murphy off of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of great. They have great chemistry because they've worked together so much before.
Yeah.
The athleticism was there. They took a lot of really good looking
God
falls.
damn, when Buddy Murphy powerbombed Ali, it sounded like a gunshot.
Oh man, how about when Ali like he pushed him Buddy Murphy pushed him up into the air and he like fell on his face on the side of the ring
Oh
and then
god.
hit the floor. Like when I saw that, I was like, "Oh wow, that looks like it really hurt." And like that's the goal. It's wrestling.
It's wrestling. It just really felt like that these guys hated each other. They really wanted the belt and they were they hit each other enough to make you believe that they wanted to really destroy the other person, which is great. Which is
Yeah,
great. And obviously they didn't really hurt each other, but you believed it.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, then there was the men's elimination match.
Men's elimination match. Oh,
Uh,
Buddy Murphy won, but since it's 205, it's not a victory for Raw or SmackDown.
yeah,
All right,
but
men's elimination match: Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley versus The Miz, the Best in the World, Shane McMahon, Rey
ugh.
Mysterio, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy.
So like my biggest problem looking at this is like Raw looks like it brought its A team, and SmackDown looks like it brought its B team plus Samoa Joe.
What do you
Uh,
mean they have the best in the world, Shane
yeah.
McMahon?
Ugh. You know how I feel about that. Uh, if
Best in the world. You could
if
just.
if you're curious about how I feel about that, check out our last podcast.
I love Shane McMahon, but
Oh, dude, he's getting too old for this. Like,
it's
really.
it is. But at the same time, one of the more interesting aspects of Shane McMahon is he's the only wrestler who got a larger move set when he got older.
That's true.
That's true. Okay,
That's true.
okay.
Um,
But so
Shane McMahon keeps on risking permanent debilitating injury by jumping off at things.
yeah, he doesn't need to do that. But I wanted to rewind to what you said about SmackDown brought their B team. Then who would you
'Cause-
consider SmackDown's A team?
Oh man, I don't know. Um,
Because that's the hard thing. Like Nakamura would be there, but he has a title, so that they wouldn't let
mm,
him wrestle. Um, AJ Styles was taken out of the picture real early, so he
I'm
can't be there.
I'm not sure if I'd say one is the A or B team. I just feel like it looked like that. It looked like because again you have uh, Drew McIntyre, you have Braun Strowman, you have Bobby Lashley, three giant men. You have Dolph Ziggler, who's a veteran, and you have Finn Balor. That nothing more needs to be said because it's Finn Balor. Then you have the Miz, who's been off and on. You have Shane McMahon, who's older.
Best of the world.
I don't fucking care. Rey Mysterio, who's kind of old. I mean, he's still performing. He's still doing
He's in
great.
great shape too.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
I don't know what he's been doing, but he should keep that up. Um, Jeff Hardy was good.
Who's
and Samoa,
also really old.
who's older, and Samoa Joe, who's been in it for 15 years.
And Samoa Joe. You know what? SmackDown doesn't have a lot of big guys.
It doesn't. All the super big guys, or not all of them, but a lot of them are on Raw
Or or in tag teams.
or in tag teams because you got Biggie, who's who's a big dude.
Yeah, I would put. I'd put Big E, AJ, Knack. Like a lot of their more famous people are
The
pre-accounted
smaller
for.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I'm trying to think like who else is big in SmackDown? Not a lot.
No.
Um, but
Oh, yeah, dude. Wow, that's an interesting thing. Raw just took all the big people. It's like, oh god, I forgot that hockey game on the Nintendo where you could choose the size of your hockey players.
oh man. But like it turned out like you think it would. It was basically a trade for trade. Um, the big strong guys were big and strong. Shane McMahon kept jumping off of things. Um,
There was a really cute bit with the Miz going, "Go Shane, go!" Miz was surprisingly a big team player.
yeah, well, I feel like that's how he's written, and he keeps on what's the word? Trying to sell his fucking movie.
Well, that's the Miz. He's the
Yeah,
A-lister.
I
That's
know.
his character.
Um, I
And
don't know.
Raw won.
Raw one.
They only
Uh,
lost two people. Braun
there was
Strowman took most of the eliminations.
there wasn't a lot to say about this match
There,
other than the Daredevil stuff that McMahon was doing. Um,
Finn looked good.
Finn
Uh,
looked good. Uh, uh, Rey Mysterio looked pretty good, and I think he was the guy that took out.
Finn.
Um,
He took out Finn Balor.
was it Finn?
He took out Finn.
Huh. Okay. Who took out?
Ziggler?
No. McIntyre.
No one took out McIntyre.
Ah, well, I'll do it then, because I know Strowman took out Mysterio, Miz, and McMahon in a row. So,
This was also the
oh
second
no,
year that Shane McMahon was the last one on Team SmackDown.
yeah. Well, he's one might argue that he's an anchor. I would say it's because he's probably wants to be last on the card just in case. But yeah, there's again not a lot going on in this. Um,
SmackDown looked weak here.
SmackDown looked really weak here.
All right.
This is again the like physical edge versus the characters because I would probably rather watch all the folks from SmackDown in a story setting than I would the Raw guys because they all are pretty one dimensional except for Finn.
Okay. Let's talk about a good thing.
Ronda
Ronda
Rousey
Rousey versus
versus
Charlotte Flair.
Charlotte Flair. This is the second heel versus heel match of the night.
No, Charlotte Flair was babyface.
Oh, was she?
And
Well,
Ronda's also
well,
babyface.
I wow, I could really need to pay more attention.
Hey, remember what I said about my theory about, oh, these people don't work with each other, that's why their wrestling wasn't so good?
Mm.
Yeah, this is the match that just spits in that theory's face.
Oh man,
Because this
so
match was
like,
so fluid.
it was really fluid. They were going pretty hard at each other.
They were competitive.
It was really competitive, and it was anybody's match
And it was
until it and it was what?
no, I mean it was very competitive. It was anybody's match. It really felt like they were really laying on to each other.
Yeah,
No, none of them were. It didn't look like either or was holding the other back.
yeah.
It's
Rousey caught that elbow early on, which was kind of nuts because Charlotte threw an elbow into her Rousey's mouth, and she was just bleeding from her mouth the rest of the match. Um,
but it just made the fight look real.
they made it look really real.
Yeah,
Um,
Daniel writes it felt like a fight. And
It
yeah,
did.
it did. And it didn't have that awkward stop and go. It was counter, exchange, dodge, counter, counter, cap, pop, counter, pop.
Yeah, no one was like, if they both went down, someone was trying to get to their feet to keep going. And it felt really good to watch.
It
Like,
was great. I was like, this was the match nobody wanted, but after watching it, people were glad they got it.
oh yeah, because it was just as you were saying, a real competitive match until
Until Charlotte grabs the kendo sticks and starts beating the crap out of Ronda Rousey.
she grabs a kendo stick, gets herself DQ'd, and then just beats the shit out of Rousey.
Yeah, she
And
beats the shit out of Rousey. She puts a chair over her neck, stomps the chair. I think one of the best parts was
she
when,
breaks two
yeah,
kendo
she
sticks.
breaks two kendo sticks, starts hitting Rousey, who's already looking bloody from the
She,
shot to the
she
elbow, and then
yeah, she was not doing well
natural
at all.
selection on the chair. Like, holy, like this was a beatdown. Like, normally when you get a beatdown, you get a few stomps, you get a finisher or two. No, this was this was a mugging.
This was it seemed kind of personal.
Oh yeah, it's just, and you're wondering like what the hell, like why the hell did Charlotte do this, and what the hell did Ronda Rousey do to deserve it? But god damn, this was, oh, it was something. You
Yeah.
don't see a woman, a female wrestler get beat that bad in the middle of the ring.
No. No, no, no. When people get beat up like that, it's almost always the
It's
males.
always the males, and usually a woman wrestler, the worst she'll get is a stomp and a finisher, or maybe a chair shot.
Yeah, even injuries, like we were saying with Naya, even injuries like are never intentional. It's not like when oh man, what was his name? There was a guy he was a Spanish guy. A few years ago, he was up against Dolph Ziggler, and he kept on sniping his head on the ground.
Was it Alberto Del Rio?
Yes, Del Rio. Like that seemed personal, you know, and Ziggler took it personally. And yes, Daniel is absolutely right. It was 100% a Donnybrook, which is a scene of uproar and disorder, heated arguments. It really did feel personal. And I keep using that word, but
I think one
uh,
of the strangest things about this heel turn is okay. Whenever someone goes heel and the crowd chants "Thank you" blank, it's usually because they don't really care for the babyface. Like when Ziggler turned heel on Apollo Crews, he got "Thank you Ziggler" because nobody really cares about Ziggler. But people like people like Ronda Rousey, and so it was really strange for Thank You Charlotte because everybody was really anti Charlotte and pro Rousey, and this happens,
and then everyone kind of switched over, which was nuts.
which is weird. I mean,
Because Charlotte wins or Charlotte loses, but
another win for Raw.
yeah, another win for Raw. But like LA crowd, what the fuck? You were booing Rousey as she was like limping up the thing after being beat,
Destroyed,
after getting the shit kicked out of her.
and it's
Never,
not like. And it's not like she didn't deserve it. She's a fantastic wrestler. She has all the traits of a good babyface. And the crowd was cheering for her until she got her ass kicked by that, and I don't get it.
yeah, it was kind of weird how like insanely hard they turned on her because it was like we definitely do not care about you anymore. It's like, really? Why did this happen? Um, but overall, I really enjoyed the match until the lengthy beatdown at the end.
Black Fright writes, LA is more about who puts on the bigger spectacle, not who's on which side. Which could be it. They could be cheering the fact that they are seeing something different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the lengthy beatdown was.
It,
I
it
I,
was
I
it
was
was
I watched it slack-jawed.
Yeah, um, I was a little distracted, but I was not distracted when that happened. Like, holy shit.
I thought it was over at the kendo stick because that's what would happen on an episode of SmackDown. Kendo stick, pop, 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 natural section, walk away. She started beating up the refs.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, was that a real snap? I really would like to know. Like, there are characters that quote snap unquote, but like, this is this. It was too much. It was too much to be fake, which is a problem.
One moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just for those listening to the podcast, Black Freight is actually an LA native. He,
What was that,
I think
Mom?
he was at that show or he was live tweeting the show. Um, but
Okay.
beautiful Staples Center. It was pretty good. I wish G hadn't left because I wasn't ready
Sorry.
to feel bad.
I'm back.
Hey, welcome back.
All right. Now to the final match of the night: Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan. Heel versus heel.
One last thing. I'm sorry. I wanted to say about Ronda Rousey.
Yes.
She did that really cool submission hold over the ropes where she was like hanging upside down in an arm bar or something.
Oh yeah,
That's cool. I like to see that kind of stuff. But yes, Brock versus Daniel Bryan. That was. I didn't understand what was happening in this match because it started off with talking about everything that Daniel Bryan had to go through to get there. He was like, AJ Styles, don't you put my name in your mouth or else. What, Daniel? You're saying that when I have asked who the best wrestler of all time is, I can't say Daniel Bryan beats the crap out of him? Like, okay, so there was a lot going on leading to this match. He earned this spot to wrestle against Brock Lesnar. So, like, he starts off by dancing around the ring?
Wait, do you know how Daniel Bryan won against AJ Styles?
I don't.
He won by shoving the ref out of the way, and then he kicks AJ Styles in the dick and hits him with the knee.
Right, the
So,
low blow.
yeah, so Daniel Bryan's a heel, and the whole dancing around the ring is either A, that's Daniel Bryan. Well, Corey Graves said it. Daniel Bryan was trying to get into Brock Lesnar's head, and it backfired on Daniel.
Oh, yeah.
So so we thought. Because the story of the match from where I saw it was Daniel Bryan pisses off Brock Lesnar by getting in his face, mocking him. And that causes Brock Lesnar to beat the crap out of him. First off, that first German suplex scared the fuck out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Where Daniel already has concussion problems, and when you just saw it, you just like, oh god, those first two German suplexes, Daniel's selling it dead, and I did not know if he was legitimately hurt. I was fooled. Then he does the belly to back suplexes, and he's beating the crap out of Daniel because he's mad, which is why when he goes for the pin, he picks Daniel Bryan up to do more damage because he's so mad at him.
Yeah,
Which is what Daniel Bryan wanted, and he waited for the opening, and then bam, Dick Kick City.
So the problem I remember mentioning to you, it was like a 10-minute snuff film followed by an 8-minute match. He just bodies Bryan for like 10 minutes. It's just him picking up, put him down, strike, put him in a lock, get out of the lock, beat him up some more, and then finally Daniel Bryan just kicks him in the dick, and then things get started.
Yeah, well, I think it's because, alright, you know what I think the appeal of a Brock Lesnar match is?
Please tell me, because I don't know.
The appeal of a Brock Lesnar match, and you see this when he fights John Cena, is that there's this level of danger to it. When when Brock Lesnar suplex Cena, he does it in a way that looks unsafe. It probably partly is unsafe, but the way that the person lands, you feel like Brock Lesnar is killing the other dude, right?
Mm.
And that's appealing because not only does not like the Mustafa Ali Buddy Murphy match or the Ronda Charlotte match is it looks like a fight, but you could tiny see that choreography there if you squint hard enough. There's nothing
Mm.
faking those German suplexes when Bryan is dumped on the back of his neck like that. And
Oh yeah,
yeah, and when you're watching it for the first time, did you know the results before watching this fight?
I did not.
Okay, for someone when you don't know the results and you know Bryan's medical condition, you see how he's selling. He's not doing the writhing in pain, trying to get up. He's just dead, right? He's
Oh yeah,
dead.
he's not dead. He's wheezing,
He's wheezing, and
which was like oh shit, is he having like an asthma? What's going
exactly, and
on?
that's me. That was me and Joe. We're going, oh, what the fuck is going on here?
I have wheezed that way before. It was not a good time.
It's not a good time, but there's that moment where me as the audience member, my suspension of disbelief has taken to a level where I think that something in the show has gone wrong,
Yeah,
and and you take that vulnerable position and then bam the dick kick, and after seeing Bryan take all that abuse, you're like, okay, things are getting
yeah.
started.
He's just up and running around right away. Um, just just springs up and is like, I'm alive.
There's a lot of subtle storytelling elements, like how Brock Lesnar tries to go for the F5, but his knee buckles, which is great. It's
Oh, that's right. He starts a match by trying to drop kick his knee. Brian tries to drop kick Lesnar's knee right at the beginning. Which is like, okay, cool. He has a strategy, but then he starts getting beat up and then gets back to it once he bounces back up.
I,
Um, plus getting kicked in the dick.
this might be
Uh,
the wrestling equivalent of the rope a dope strategy that Daniel Bryan was doing, luring.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
But anyway, that final yes lock where Lesnar's turning crimson, and I almost thought he was gonna tap out. I legitimately thought he was gonna tap out, but he doesn't. And bam, victory for Raw.
Man, like, so I feel like if if that was a decision that they made, that was a really poor decision because this story could have just come out with a victor and just be done. Daniel Bryan didn't have to or won't have to do anything crazy. We can get on to the more important stories that we all want to hear. But no, I guarantee you, there's going to be a lot of investment of from corporate into this story. Not a big fan, um, and because like he should have won. Lesnar should have lied down. Like as a performer, he should have lied down.
The working theory is they don't want Lesnar to lose because he's going back into UFC. So they want to make him look strong, so then he could get that UFC attention.
The problem with that is that once he, um, sorry, Black Freight says to me that the thing that's gone wrong is Lesnar still having a contract. I can't find fault in that man. Like I love Brock Lesnar. I need to say that first of all. I used to be a kickboxer. UFC was real important to me when I was kickbox. Brock Lesnar was my guy until he threw that when he had the beard against Eddie something. And it was seeing him now is just terrible. I don't like it. It's he's not a great performer, and
Part of it is his current condition.
what is his current condition?
I forgot. Lesnar had a serious health issue.
Yeah, he had a heart attack.
No, it wasn't a heart attack.
Oh, is this recent?
It wasn't recent. It was like a good chunk of his intestines had to be removed. Like one of the
That's
it explained.
terrible.
Yeah, it's I forgot. Like it puts him in tremendous amount of pain. Yeah, there it is. Intestinal infection. He had intestinal infection. One of the reasons why that Lesnar turned. You know how we always joke that Lesnar turns purple.
Oh, 4 feet of intestines was removed.
Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah.
Oh,
Lesnar turning purple is not just because of haha Lesnar has poor conditioning. It's his organs struggle to keep up with it. It's a sign of a heart problem.
yeah. Well, again, he's had a heart problem before. That knife. I'm pretty sure the knife tattoo was to hide his open heart surgery.
Yeah, he's been through a lot on the operating table, which is why his matches are kind of paced at a certain way, so he
Mm.
doesn't die.
The problem with that is the fact that like the show suffers for it.
Oh,
He
it
should not
does.
still be around.
Oh, it does. It totally does. When he has the title, it doesn't exist. It's a known problem.
Yeah.
All right, now that we talked about all the matches, do you know what one of my biggest gripes with the SmackDown sweep is?
Mm.
Okay,
That it shouldn't have
you
happened.
know, I I'm okay with it happening if it leads to something else because you know how it's wrestling where they could take a really shitty storyline and then suddenly something really good comes out of it, like Rusev Day. Rusev Day was from the horrible feud between Randy Orton and Rusev, and that's where the line came from. But it is now the source of Rusev's popularity. My whole issue with SmackDown losing is that on paper, either before the match or during the match, the SmackDown people had a decisive advantage, right? All right,
Mm.
let's run down the freaking
Mm.
card. Women's match, we had infighting with Nia Jax, and we had Alexa Bliss scrambling the teams and not being freaking finalized, and everybody's disorganized. The women on the
Sure.
SmackDown side, unified, teamwork, supportive, they lose. All right, Seth Rollins versus Nakamura. Nakamura rested, he's focused, he has a purpose. Seth Rollins, he's discombobulated, he's been beaten up by Dean Ambrose a lot, he's been backstabbed by Dean Ambrose. Nakamura loses. AOP versus The Bar.
Wait, with that one, I feel like they wanted to give him a win because of the stuff going on.
Right, I'm just
Uh,
talking about the
okay,
storyline
okay,
perspective, okay? Seth
my bad,
Rollins is
my bad.
not 100% mentally there, and he still
Okay,
wins.
yeah.
AOP and The Bar, I don't know about that. I'm going to skip that. Bam.
Uh, uh, Black Freight made a good point that the bar is like their stopgap team. When they need somebody but they don't have anyone that really fits, the bar goes in,
The Bar goes in, but
which makes sense.
I'm just arguing from a kayfabe standpoint.
Yeah.
All right, AOP. I'm gonna skip that, buddy. Mustafa Ali skipping that. All right, Raw tag team. All right, this is another set of teams. Raw disorganized as fuck. Baron Corbin and Stephanie McMahon are hostile bosses. Drew McIntyre
Mhm.
is trying to run over the team. Braun Strowman gets to the point where he's beating up his teammates. SmackDown, Shane McMahon, while he is a glory hog, he's very supportive of the team. Paige is very supportive of the team. The team
Oh,
themselves, co-
yeah, yeah.
they're
When they do the backstage thing, they're like you are SmackDown.
yeah,
You are SmackDown. He's getting him hyped up,
he's getting
and
hyped.
he's being a good leader.
He's being a good leader. Meanwhile, Baron Corbin's all, do this for me, and Stephanie McMahon's, you better win, right?
Yeah,
And, and even with the Miz, the SmackDown team, they're all unified. Lose, right? Ronda
mm,
Rousey gets beaten up by Becky Lynch, gets put in the frickin' disarmor, gets jumped, gets hit with chairs before the match. Charlotte Flair cannot beat her in a fair fight. And then Brock Lesnar literally gets kicked in the dick by Daniel Bryan, who has one of the strongest kicks in the freaking roster, still wins. So that means a gimped, unfocused, uncoordinated, ununified Raw team, not even will beat SmackDown at their best potential.
Mm. Yeah, that's a real problem. 'Cause like it's I mentioned earlier that there were two reasons people like SmackDown versus Raw.
The
I feel
characters.
I feel like SmackDown's where you go if you have a great or need to develop a great character, and Raw is where you go when you want to get the crazy athleticism in. Not saying that each side doesn't have great characters or athleticism, but there's definitely a focus. And like the Raw team just kind of have you ever have you ever played against somebody in a game or a sport or anything where like they're really focused on winning and it like you have to let them win or else it'll cause a lot of problems. I feel like that's what was going on with Raw. It's Raw was going really hard to and like doing as much as they can to win. With the exception of Ronda Rousey, who had a great match but won versus a DQ
Oh
or
yeah,
with a
like
DQ.
that's what the managers were. It's that episode of The Simpsons. If you lose, you're out of the family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's it's like yeah, no, it's exactly that. If you lose, you're out of the family kind of situation,
Yeah,
and uh, it doesn't make for a great show.
I, I just I just wish there was more of a reason for SmackDown to lose.
Well,
If you're gonna do the sweep, right?
mm,
If you're gonna do the sweep, especially if it's Baron Corbin, you're like, you better win or I get fired. I would like some cheating. I would like some Baron Corbin fucking things up for the blue brand. That would
oh
make more.
yeah, he played a very straight uh manager
I would
for
like to
that.
see some sabotage. That would make more sense to me. Like, oh look, it's Baron Corbin being a shitbag to keep his job. That would make more sense to me.
Yeah, right, but he was just like, "Hey, you're going to go out there. You're going to win." Oh, I'm looking at pictures of Ronda after the match. Yikes! She got hurt. She got actually hurt. Like it looks as though almost her ear almost got ripped off a little. No, it's not that bad, but like she has some serious injuries.
It looks like it, and but that was SmackDown. I mean that no, that was SmackDown. That was Survivor Series. There was a lot of spectacle. I It was definitely not the show you wanted to watch. I'm of the two. I'm glad you saw it first because War Games is gonna feel like a breath of fresh air to you. I'm not going to talk too much about it because Wes is going to see it, and I do not want to get in the way of his first impressions. But uh, I was very fortunate to watch War Games live in Los Angeles. It was me, Jill, Super Mario, and the Afro Saiyan. The Afro Saiyan. The four of us were watching, and all I could say is that we felt like kids again. One of the cool things was we were given wristbands that had lights, that had colored lights,
Oh, I love that. That's always a great detail.
but they were coordinated via a remote signal. So whenever a wrestler
Yeah,
came
yeah.
in, it would
Japanese idol shows do that, where
yeah,
like something's happening, they'll start lighting up, and suddenly the whole coliseum is blue.
correct.
Mm.
Sometimes in idol concerts the fans do it themselves, but this one it was all taken care of. We had to answer a survey. I mean, the effect was pretty cool. It wasn't as strong as I think they wanted, but it was just fun. Like when Kyrie Sane came out, all the lights went blue. When Velveteen Dream came out, they were all purple.
Oh man,
But
That's awesome.
It was awesome, and it was the first time I actually got to see the action very clearly because I brought my glasses. Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
don't usually wear.
I don't normally wear glasses, but I went. You know what? I'm gonna wear glasses, and I mean,
It,
I
it worked out.
it worked out. I don't want to go too in depth, but um, War Games is great. I'm just gonna leave it at that. War Games is great.
Okay,
All right,
I will. I'll have to check that out.
all right. Now, overall, Wes, what did you think about Survivor Series?
I felt it was a mixed bag. I felt that there was a lot of good moments in there, but there's also a lot of like underwhelming and uh, misutilized moments that could have been, but ended up being pretty flat. Uh, if I was to give it a grade, I'd give it a B minus.
Wow, that's the same grade Brian Zane gave it.
Ah, that's good. That means I'm on the right
Yeah,
track.
you're not
Um,
crazy. You're on something.
it's just I really feel like the WWE needs to look at everything that happened here and kind of reflect on what they actually want to do with their talent. Yeah.
Uh,
How about you?
oh, how about me? What I thought about it?
Yeah.
Uh, for me, I feel like if we were to equate the storyline of wrestling as a river, Survivor Series is the dam in the river. A lot of
Mm,
times with pay-per-views, you could see where the story goes, and this one I have no idea, and that's not a good thing. It's
mm,
just such a dead stop. Like where does I don't know where these story threads go. I don't know what the hell SmackDown's gonna do outside of Charlotte Flair versus Ronda. Like I I don't know. It's like
yeah, it's hard to determine anything that's going to happen from here.
you could see a little bit with the Raw side. Like probably Braun's gonna go after Baron and Drew
McIntyre.
McIntyre. Yeah, no, McIntyre's gonna show his dominance. Like you could see that Rousey's gonna be recovering from her ass beating. You don't
Yeah,
know where the hell SmackDown's going.
yeah, definitely.
They got nothing. They got no wins. They got no story beats. Are they just gonna go? Oh, we lost, stupid dude. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't like this. I don't like
Yeah,
this.
it's hard to really nail down
Yeah,
where they're going to go with this
the
because
flow of the writing has stopped. It's just like that. Ugh.
well,
I don't feel
it,
like giving it a letter grade, but if you want to watch Survivor Series, which I don't blame you if you want to watch it, make sure you really give some time to Murphy versus Ali and Charlotte versus Rousey. They they will put smiles on your faces. They are it's not they're not good because they're next to crap. They're legitimately good. They're fun. Just
yeah,
watch that.
I if we're going to put it that way, I wouldn't say make it a priority to watch, but if you haven't seen it, go watch it with a more critical eye, because if you're listening to this all the way to the end, you already know how the matches go. But like, watch it, kind of look at all the elements for your, so you have an idea of uh, what you think is good and bad, and then kind of form your own opinion. Because these are just our opinions. I'm sure there are people who thought the the tag team championship match was great.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's
so, but yeah, it's not a priority. But if you have time, I would watch it.
yeah. It's time. It's time that you could take a little break in it, but overall, it's a nice romp.
Yeah, not a priority, but yeah, it's there.
All right.
Anyways,
I think that's all we can say on Survivor Series. If you reach to the end, we want to thank you, for probably our most in-depth wrestling episode we've ever talked about.
Yeah, we I actually really like this. I really like being able to talk about the wrestling.
Yeah, this is we are the CWF. Decided since a lot of wrestling happened, we just wanted to try an episode of just Wes and I going at it. So if you liked our take on it, let us know. And I think it's time right before we sign off. It's time for us to ask the question for next episode.
What is the question for the next episode, G?
I'm gonna softball this. What is your
Hmm.
what is your favorite non-finisher move in wrestling?
Hmm.
Yeah, non-finisher, so no stunners, no swantons, non-finisher. Got to be a regular move.
Dragon kick. Wait, no.
Wait, were you Dragon Kick?
No.
Wait,
So, anyways,
uh,
uh,
wait, Dragon Kick. I'm gonna have to look up Dragon Kick.
all right. My name is Wes Bartel,
Everyone calls me G.
and thank you for listening to CWF. Check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can probably just Google the Cosplay Wrestling Federation and any one of those platforms, and you'll be able to find it. If you're in the chat, the links are right there.
Thanks for listening, and we're gonna see you next time.
Bye.